Alright guys, Not So Average Builder here again. I am terribly sorry about the gaps in between videos. It has been hectic at work, so I've not had a whole lot of time to paint. However, in the free time that I have had to paint, I've just kind of done this quickly. Let me get this in focus. Kind of brighten it up a bit. So I was able to do the base color, which is just the Vallejo red leather. I did base coat this in Abaddon black. That was it. And then I did the scales in red leather. And I used a mixture of red leather and white gray. Let me get this in focus. But Vallejo red leather and white gray to create a highlight color. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the orange red into it to kind of keep that reddish tint, but still keep it that copper color. And then I'll just mix in a bunch of white, but I think that'll give it the desired look that I'm going for. But as you can see, I've done the first highlight, and I've made this. I may end up making it a little lighter. It may not be light enough, but I'll go one step further, but I still have this entire side to do. Now I'm not going to go as heavy on this side because my light source is coming from here, so all of my main points are hit. I am, however, going to hit this with just the Vallejo red leather. I'm not going to do anything else to it. I may do some, dazzle spots to just kind of try and work this thing out and make it more appearable. I guess if that's the word that I'm trying to use. I am using Cujo's technique on non-metallic metals. There are tons of them out there. But I liked his the most. And sorry, this is throwing the color balance off. I did like his the most, so I decided to give it a shot. I've never attempted non-metallic metal before, and this is technically attempt number 2. The first time I base coated the whole thing in the red leather and I was trying to highlight it, and it ended up looking like terracotta, which isn't a bad thing if that's the look you're going for, but I was not. I'm trying to go for the non-metallic metal. And on camera, it doesn't necessarily show up yet, and that's only because I'm on my second highlight color, or my first highlight color. I'm going to be working on the second highlight color, along with the shiny line that would be on the highest points. So on these scales, it's just going to be little dots, and then on these the wing veins, I think that's what they're called, they're going to be a tiny strip, and I'm going to try and get it as straight as possible and make this look legitimately as possible. Can't talk today. So without further ado, let's get started. For this, I'm going to just create a tiny little highlight because I've made the big highlight of the scale, or the main color of the scale, and then I hit it with the highlight color, and I'm going to go even smaller. What I'd forgotten to do was add water to my palette, and I'm only going to do a few of these just to kind of show it off, and we can, I'll do the rest of them another time and kind of make things a little bit easier because this is going to be time consuming and tedious. Very, very tedious. But yes, and like on these flat spots, I'm going to try and go as close to the edge as possible and highlight just the very edge of the scale. I've kind of got it thin enough to where it should really pop out with a couple of coats. So right now it may not look like I've done much of anything, but I promise you in person you can really tell. And like for instance this piece right here, let me get it in focus. We just want to hit the top edge. Oop. Made a boo-boo. Easy fix though. So very little on the brush. I'm trying to highlight this top edge, or where the light would strike the most. And again, it may not show up on camera because I still have to do a few coats of it. But I think once I get enough coats on there, it should pop out just enough Yeah. And then like on these ridge veins, helps if I get it on camera. A little bit more on the brush. You should be able to pick that out the most out of all of it. And I'm not worried about the rough texture on the wings because they're wings and they're going to be rough. These big areas like the wings, or the wing edges, or I'm not really sure my anatomy of a dragon. Try and keep it as random as possible. And I'm improvising a little bit because I don't want it to look, I want it to look organic. Kind of show up randomly. But yeah, so I'm going to go off and finish the rest of this thing, and once I get done with that, we'll move on to the white parts, and those are going to be very simple and quick and effective. So yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, so all of the highlight color is done. I don't know if you can really see it, I've really got to get better lighting, but I've hit the edge of this, the center of these veins, or whatever these things are called, and once it dried, it doesn't come out as much. It does give you more of a brighter look, but the finishing touch is going to be a very, very mostly white mixture of the red brown, or the red leather, and the white gray. And I'm going to create my highlight. So like for instance right here, I'm going to try and keep it well, let's see if I can get this. And you can see the big difference between this side and this side. Camera, just gonna touch it in spots. Go off and do the rest of this, which is going to take me forever. This has been a really long process just because I think all I'm going to do on this side is just going to do the red leather base coat, and then I'm going to use the white gray and some blue green to make the oxidation. Oh, there we go. I couldn't even say it right. But I'm going to make it look like this side because it's not hitting the light. It's going to be all patinaed and stuff like that. So my thought behind this whole thing is going to be wherever the light hits the Copper Dragon, it looks majestic. It looks shiny. Wherever the light doesn't hit the Copper Dragon, it's going to look rustic and tarnished. It'll still have some color showing through, but for the most part it'll be rustic. But now, like on these wing holes, I'm going to do those rustic anyway, just because I can. Why not, right? But yeah, so I'll go off and finish this, and the next video on this will be kind of a walkthrough on what I did, how big of a pain in the butt it was, and that's pretty much what that is. So that is all. If you like the video, don't forget to actually like the video. Should be right down there. And if you like this content and you want to see more of it, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of my next video. I also have a Patreon account, and that Patreon is my normal means of funding projects. I can't do it without you guys. I mean, I can, but it's very slow going. So if you'd like to donate your hard-earned doll hairs to my Patreon and to help me get more projects, more advanced weathering techniques, more advanced techniques for me to try so you can see how to do them and we can learn along the way, the link is in the description below, but it is not patreon.com/NotSoAverageBuilder. I also have a Facebook account and an Instagram if you'd like to follow up, and I do post up pictures of processes along the way. Both of those are at NotSoAverageBuilder, so just go ahead and search that if you want to. But that is all I have for you all, so have a wonderful evening, and remember, the most important thing, don't just be an average builder, be a not-so-average builder. Bye, guys.